A bit like magic just now, I'm able to read your mind. And your mind is actually thinking, which one is better? The GoPro Hero 2 or the Canon 550d with an awesome lens when shooting in low light and shooting sports, like a boxing match? How did I know you were thinking that? Well, I was thinking it too. And two cameras, video, this is all about video, not about photography. Both have f2.8 lenses. This is the GoPro Hero 2. This is a Canon 550d with the Tokina 11-16mm lens. Both are super wide angle. This one is kind of more of a fisheye. It's actually a 2.5mm lens. This is an 11-16mm lens. This can record at 720, at 1080, and also at a high speed of 120 frames a second at 464 resolution, which is kind of smaller than small stuff. This can do 60 frames a second and also 50 frames a second at 720, and also 30 frames and 25 frames at 1080. Same video abilities. However, this one, including the lens, which is attached, costs £300. It's very small, it's very light, and it's hard as nails. Audio, pretty pump. This camera body costs about £500, £550. Lens itself also about £500. So this is £1,000. So you'd hope this would be better. Now, in terms of which one's easier to carry, this one's easier. Which one's easier to tell that you're getting better video? Straight away, because you've got a video screen here. If you want a video screen on this, you need to get that with an extra video LCD screen at the back, which costs about another £70. And will also totally ruin the battery life, so I think you won't have a long time on that. However, this battery life lasts a little bit longer. However, doing video definitely sucks energy out of the battery a lot quicker than if you're doing photos. So anyway, enough chit chat. Let's go have a look at the video abilities and see their side-by-side performance. And this is very much side-by-side. In other words, I was standing at, or kneeling or crouching at the side of a boxing ring like that. Oh my god, it totally killed my shoulders having to hold it for 3-minute rounds like that through the thing. And with this one, I can't see where it's pointing. This one I can see, but I'm just holding it like that. So here's the video footage and with a little bit of narration. Okay, so straight off, this is shooting at 720p. Now I'm recording this on my Mac screen, so it looks tiny. But what I can do is I can put two 720p videos side by side and record this and upload it. I don't know if you can download it off YouTube at that ratio, but either way, it's pretty cool. So let's look at the two sides. On the left, we have the Canon 550d, and as you can see, it's a lot brighter. The colours are a lot more, well, the white balance, I would say, is correct. On the right, we have the GoPro Hero 2, which obviously is giving a slightly wider field of view. Yes, it is giving a wider field of view than the 11mm from the Tokina, but it's struggling with getting the ISO up, or with having a high enough exposure. I'd also say that here's a little slow motion shot as well. So both of them here were shooting at 50 frames a second in PAL setting. On the Canon, I was able to sort out the... Oh, I was just looking at the difference there of what details you get in the blacks. In the Canon, I was able to set it so that it was taking it was at 50 frames a second, so it's doing a 100th of a second shutter speed. With the GoPro, you have no control over that. You have no control of the shutter speed or the white balance or the ISO or anything. It really is just a case of click and hope for the best. However, I would say it's done actually pretty well. For a camera which costs £300, you can see a boxing match. You can view it all. And also with a camera which doesn't even have a screen on the back, you can still capture absolutely everything. The Canon 550d, however, you're able to see a lot more. It's a lot brighter, and it's just a lot more easy to see. ISO settings, I was at 3200. There I'm changing the ISO settings a little bit, bring it down to about 1600, but back up to 1300, because really, you don't really see that much noise in the video, especially after you've processed it and uploaded it, and then YouTube compresses it even more. You don't see much. So in terms of if you're shooting in very dark locations and you want to be able to control your shutter speed or your frames per second, then I would say go with the Canon 550d. However, you are paying over 3 times the amount of money. Also, it's a lot more dangerous if you drop it, and it's a lot more heavy for you to hold and carry the whole time. So, I would say GoPro wins for portability and lightness, and it's just very good. However, I wanted to also show you the next thing, and that is the GoPro's super fast speed, where it can do 120 frames a second. So check this bit. Okay, so as you can see, the resolution is smaller, but it's not tiny. Well, it may look tiny on your screen. However, if I were to make it full screen, it's not too bad. And on the right is the GoPro, is the Canon 550d. This is still shooting at 720p, 50 frames a second. But the Canon, or the GoPro now, is shooting at 100 frames a second, because in PAL settings you can't put it up to 120. So this, for slow motion, will definitely be good, but as you can see, it is grainy, it is noisy, and it's just a bit, you're really losing a lot of detail. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom up the GoPro so it's the same size as the 720. And there I've had to zoom up to 150% size. So yeah, the smaller crop ratio, or the smaller file size, is 150, something like that. Do some maths. But yeah, let's have a look at the slow motion ability here. So with the GoPro I'm able to go down to 25%, meanwhile with the Canon I can only go down to 50%. Let's see if we can find a more interesting bit. You may want to watch that over and over again to see the real difference there. However, I suspect doing it in good light, the 120 frames a second would be nice. So anyway, there you go. That's just a little kind of advice for you. If you're shooting indoors, I'd say go with the Canon. Slowing it down to 50% is good enough. If you're tight on a budget, the GoPro does a good enough job, I would say. And if you want super slow-mo, it totally rocks, because you can do super slow-mo. But try and get as much light into the location that you're going to be shooting in to make it as good a footage as possible. Hope that helps. Bye-bye.